Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. So I was thinking tonight about something that Jack Newton mentioned in his keynote speech at the Clio conference last week. And he was talking a lot about the information that came out of the Legal Trends report. He does that a lot. And they've been measuring utilization and hours worked and things like that, collection rates of attorneys for quite some time now. And the numbers that he disclosed this year that came out of this year's Legal Trends report showed that attorneys are generally billing about 2.9 hours a day. Now, assuming most of us are working a full-time 8-hour-a-day job, that's not a lot. He also disclosed that only about 2.5 hours a day are getting billed and only 2.2 hours a day are getting collected. And so I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. I think there's a lot of room for us to figure out ways to improve upon those numbers. But one of the things that I thought about today was I had an eye doctor appointment. So I went to the eye doctor. And as I'm standing there at the end of the appointment, paying for my contacts and paying for the eye exam itself and the x-rays and all the other things that they do, I was thinking about how different professionals collect for their services and bill and collect the money for their services. Because it seems to me that in the legal profession, it's a bit unique. And I'm not sure exactly why we still do it this way, whether it's just out of habit or whether it's just because that's the way it's always been done. But I started thinking about other professional services, right? At the eye doctor, the minute we're done with that appointment, they're looking for payment and I pay it with my credit card, right? Similarly, at the dentist, as soon as we're done with that appointment, they're collecting payment before I walk out the door. Again, that's something that I'm paying on a credit card. I use a tax accountant. When my tax accountant delivers to me those tax documents, she's expecting payment. In fact, they won't even release them to me until I do pay, which again, I do on my credit card. I know a lot of us have used the services of a professional DJ for a wedding or another event in our lives, professional photographers, all of which are requiring a deposit up front. And then at the time the services are provided, the night of the wedding, or sometimes even the day before the wedding, they're collecting that payment. And so again, many times of which is paid with a credit card. So I think that that's very fascinating to me, the fact that all of these other professional services are expecting that those payments are going to be made as soon as the services are delivered or as soon as the services are provided. And it's only really within the legal profession. Now, doctors are a little bit different because we're dealing with insurance companies, but even at the doctor's office, they're expecting that copay at the time that I arrive in the office, even before the doctor sees me. And again, by the way, I'm paying on my credit card. So it's really only the legal profession I found that is doing this type of monthly billing, right? Where we're waiting 30 days or sometimes even longer to collect that payment, especially if we're talking about, if we're talking about some of the flat fee services, if we're talking about hourly services, but we're not billing till the end of the month. And so there can be a really long lag time on that. And I'm just not sure why we're tolerating that, why we're accepting of that. I think a lot of times we do it just kind of out of habit or kind of like that's the way we've always done it. But I really think there's a great opportunity for us here to be able to collect that money in advance, to be able to collect that money at least sooner, and to make that a more consistent process. And so I just encourage you to think about the kind of professional services that you're buying, the kind of professional expectations these professionals have as far as billing and getting paid, and to think about how you might incorporate that into your own practice to help with cash flow, to help with creating more sustainable business, not just for yourselves, but for your employees and for your clients, frankly, as well. Because of course, if we're not getting paid, then it's going to be very, very difficult for us to offer services to our clients. So thanks for joining me tonight. Hope that gives you something to think about. Hope that gives you thoughts on how to improve your own services. And if you have questions, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts too on how you're charging and why. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Have a great evening.